It's possible that you've heard of quilting. Quilting is a craft in which pieces of fabric are sewed together in patterns by hand or by machine, and then made into an item such as a blanket to keep you warm in winter. There are usually two or more layers to a quilt, and that makes it different from a regular blanket. For many years, people stopped quilting when it became possible to buy quilts and blankets to cover the beds. These store-bought quilts were often less expensive, and of course, you could have one immediately without waiting the weeks or months it takes to produce a quilt. But in the 1980s, quilting made a comeback, and now you can find quilting materials, classes, books, and magazines, even TV shows everywhere. What's the big deal about quilting? We visited a popular convention and asked around. Stacy Riley is a designer for a fabric company. Riley says all the major fabric companies have taken note of the rise in quilting's popularity. Miss Riley, the quilts I recall from my childhood featured fairly traditional quilting designs. They were always square or rectangular and made for beds, and generally had similar patterns and quiet colors. You say that today's quilting isn't like the quilting of old or even the quilting of 30 years ago. The fabrics are more interesting, as are the designs, the techniques, and colors.
That's right. Our generation grew up with an entirely different kind of quilt. Our grandmothers in the 1930s, 30s, and 40s sewed their own clothes. It was cheaper. They sewed up the crafts from the clothes they make to make quilts, and these quilts were often beautiful, but more often they were functional. Their purpose was to keep you warm at night. Nowadays, it's cheaper to buy a bed covering in a store, so people make quilts these days because it's a fantastic hobby. But they still use scraps of fabric from sewing clothes. Nowadays, it's usually cheaper to buy clothes than to make them, and that created a shift for those of us who work in the fabric industry. When we design new fabrics, we think much less about what will look good in a person's clothing and much more about how quilter will like it. Will it look fun, interesting, and exciting in a quilt? And we don't design one fabric at a time. We design a whole series of fabrics in certain colors because quilters often use the fabric together.
Today's quilting, unlike quilting in the past, appeals to different breed of crafters, people who crave for fun and not out of necessity. Tina Marsden is the parent of three active children, but she finds time to attend conventions and invest in her hobby. Quilting is really great. I enjoy having a hobby that I can do in the few spare minutes of time I get every day. Being the mother of little children is a full-time job, but knowing that when my little guys are stopping a nap, I have a quiet to on. I have the energy to keep going. It makes me so happy to have some nice to put on the family's beds. Sometimes I make at this convention last year, I saw Margaret Wilson, and I couldn't believe it. She has won so many awards and made so many cry that I love. These conventions are really cool because sometimes you get to meet famous creators. Quilling's comeback in recent years means a great hobby for people like Tina, but it can also mean big money. After our encounter with Tina's, we spoke to Anna Roberts, a UCLA student who's starting business. She explained her plans for the future.
Crafts are growing fast. People are learning that there are lots of things they can create for their homes without the help of outsiders. They're learning to make furniture, sew quilts, and knit their own sweater. So what I want to do when I graduate is open a top-notch craft store. Quilting alone is a multi-million-dollar industry. Neil Brown is the owner of a quilting store in Topeka, Kansas, and he has a different take on quilting's popularity. He is part of a panel that will talk later today about quilting and its new role in schools. I asked him if his quilt store had classes for children. Oh yes, definitely. I've got after-school classes for children in elementary school and Saturday classes for teenagers. Quilting has become widely popular among children. I've set up a small library of books on quilting, and those books are constant circulation. We have a waiting list, and I'm thinking we will need to expand the classroom section of my store to make room for more classes.
So there are connections between quilting and lots of other areas in the school curriculum. That's true. In quilting, lots of subject areas are involved: math, design, history, reading, or even science. Sometimes I've seen it happen a lot. Children develop an interest in quilting, and suddenly teachers see development in the classroom. You know, most kids don't do craft at home. Their parents are too busy and no one has time to teach kids. Some of the basic things they need to know in life, like baking a cake, sewing bottom on clothes, making a kite, or creating a craft book. I love teaching for me. Anything that help young people have an appreciation for hard work and dedications to a project is terrific.